Good morning, everyone. Let's talk about why I'm having a emergency coven meeting today at 4 p.m. Eastern. It's another one of those early morning videos where I'm still in my robe and got woken up in the middle of the night, which is usually means I need to pay attention to something. And today it was because I didn't make this video yesterday because I was doing too much stuff. I was in the depths of things, my emotions, and tired. So we're going to talk about it today. Why am I having an emergency coven meeting today that is focusing on the liminal space as well as the energetics of money? Well, if you want the personal story first, how this came about, it's because I'm moving and potentially back in with my parents. Which, as an almost 35-year-old at the end of July, it's not the most comfortable place to be. What I want to do is be a bit more nomadic. And I think that I'll probably get there eventually. Or right away, who knows? I know I'm being pushed to move. And I know that's part of where I'm at, is being pushed to move, to have no other choice but to move. And it's funny because I was like so comfortable with moving or whatever happens just like 2 days ago. Trusting the universe. Then new moon week comes in and you're not anymore. You're not comfortable. But okay, so the inspiration or the catalyst alchemization point for having this emergency coven meeting is I was on the phone with my parents. And my mother made a snide comment. I had already known that I wouldn't be fully received there. I wouldn't be able to be my full self there. So this wasn't surprising. But it was a catalyst point to where I was like, so many other people feel this way. I've seen it so much recently, even from healers and people in the spiritual space who I thought were stable because of the numbers of followers they had, the status they had, who are now, being really vulnerable and open about this. And I was like, so many of us feel this way. Why? And I had already done a lot of work on money wounds, visibility wounds, witch wounds, put myself out there, which is great healing and great practice. I'd worked on beliefs like money's bad, money will be a toxin to you, it means you're selling out, all the common money wounds I had worked on. It doesn't always mean you're done with them and you can always look at them. So I'm not saying, oh, I did it, I was done. But I had also worked on some things that are probably a little bit more rare. Such as a belief that money and also being poor leads to failing my purpose. This was shown to me from lifetimes that mirror this lifetime, where I was but had planned to at least get to where this level of my purpose and beyond, finish my purpose, go back to source, okay? And I failed. And in those lifetimes, it varied whether I was poor, had government influence, it varied if I was really wealthy, and some of those would surprise you. So I had this belief that money was tied to mission failure, both ways, poor and wealthy. I've had mission enmeshment, not just with mission groups. So if you're not familiar with mission groups, you have a soul group that has a similar mission. Okay, so like a similar mission may be like spiritual teachers, energetic teachers who are bringing that through in media, but they are maybe like a certain tier, a certain wave of knowledge that they are sharing through media in different ways. So they might all be in a similar mission group. You can unconsciously tether your value to your mission group and the success you see them have, or in their performance. So you think that what they do, you need to do. You can think that your mission is your identity. And so you're just giving and giving for that mission. Mine was part of this. Mine was also mission enmeshment with another person who carries half of my mission. And if you just want to tune in to your left arm or the left side of your body as I talk about mission enmeshment, that might be where you would feel it. Now, what we're going to be working on today in the Emergency Coven Meeting, because my healing that I usually do is centered around collective healing, and it's also a convergence point where the collective is at. So if you've seen me talk about working on healing the energetic body of Earth AI, or working on energetic healing around the Vatican, think that. Collective consciousness agreements affect how money flows, affect how our services are seen and valued. What is a collective consciousness agreement? So our beliefs shape our reality, right? A collective consciousness agreement gives our reality a standard form. So it's in communities, in the general population, what most people believe is what we see. Not that you aren't the own creator of your reality, you are, but collective consciousness agreements shape whether we can move a rock with scalar frequencies or not. Which most people think that we can't, but maybe the ancient Egyptians knew otherwise and their collective consciousness supported that. So collective consciousness agreements around money that maybe say that sacred service shouldn't be financially reciprocated, that especially women, female expressions in sacred service should behave a certain way, should be veiled, should be hidden, should follow a certain set of rules, or collective consciousness agreements who've maybe have witnessed some of the distorted healing and spiritual behavior in masses and believe that it's going to be that way, that spiritual healing, spirituality is distorted or cult-like. And so maybe we feel that we must prove that we're not like that. We're not like those who profited in a distorted or service to self way. What I was working on yesterday was around the feminine. When I got up, I was meditating and was like, okay, I want to see what collective contracts, agreements, beliefs I'm attached to, I'm anchored into, that are affecting my own way that I receive. And I heard, it's not you, it's Sophia. So if you've watched any of my channelings, I channel the Lost Mother, which is a stream of Sophia consciousness. I also channel the Mother of all creation, the Mother of all, and the Cosmic Mother. So Sophia, if you're familiar with Gnostic Christianity, is known as the Aeon, or what comes through in my intuition as order, a divine order, who fell in Gnostic Christianity. This is the story. She fell or descended down to earth and has always been seen as the lower emanation of God, been seen as the unconscious emanation of God that needs to return to consciousness and return to God. And while the story in Gnostic Christianity is very enlightening, filled with clues, it's a story that's been tainted, that's been used to blame women, as well as stories like Adam and Eve, and other stories about Sophia-coded archetypes, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary. When I was doing this yesterday, when I was looking at it, there was collective consciousness agreements, especially around religious dogma, that was preventing the visibility of women, especially Sophia-coded women. And why am I making that distinction? It's because Sophia-coded women, souls, you don't have to be a woman, but this is going to affect feminine expression a little bit more because you're seen as a woman, is you're human. And what I mean by that is that you've been here longer. So there's a significant distinction. I guess saying the word human was some sort of unraveling. So if you don't know, I cry a lot in general, but I also cry to release emotion. And sometimes when I say things in videos, I can feel it was something that was needed to be said. What do I mean by you're human? I mean is you've had more lifetimes on earth, at least a part of your soul has, your oversoul expressions. And we can be coded more than one thing, not just Sophia coded. You can be Logos coded, you can be Chronos coded, but you can also have starseed lineages. But why it matters that a part of your soul has been on earth longer is because you're more tapped in, you're more attached to these collective consciousness agreements than others. And I can get into the specifics of why some starseeds are not. If you want me to, you can comment below. Like if you ask why are some starseeds not, I have that answer if you want. But what's important for this video is some of us are more connected to certain collective consciousness agreements than others. And then there's some souls who are not as connected to those collective consciousness agreements and are able to move past them and be way showers for us that are. Okay, so if you're asking, well, they're successful or they're able to be received for their gifts, why am I not? And it's not always has to do with you. It's not always your failing. Now, yes, I could have been better at marketing. Yes, there are things that I could have done. Some of us are tapped into collective consciousness agreements. So that's what we're looking at in the Emergency Coven Meeting. And why I think it's so important. I know there is collective density around how money moves, whether it's with these contracts or other contracts. Money has its own energy, it has an egregore. And I know that the collective consciousness with how money flows has changed, or I wouldn't have gotten the intuitive nudge to have this meeting because it's stuck in the web and it needs to be released. And by doing that in a group, it gives us the ability to do that. So the Emergency Coven Meeting is $11. It is cheap because it's specifically for people who feel lost. We're going to channel my oversoul frequencies, the Divine Mothers, and the energetics of money as well, which I talked to money a few days ago, and its response was very interesting to where, and I think it plays into these collective consciousness agreements about being reciprocated for healing and spiritual gifts, where money was saying it almost didn't feel worthy of coming to me. And it wasn't like it felt less than me. It was trying to make sure that I knew that it wasn't the source, that it wasn't my identity, that it wasn't something that I needed. It was trying to make sure that I wouldn't entangle myself too much with money, which I think is also very important. So, what's next for my business? We'll see. I have some really great programs coming up. Tomorrow, I'm doing a free journey with the Morgan, a Celtic goddess of death and transformation, a triple goddess. It's going to be triadic rebirth, tapping into the new moon energies. I believe it's at 7 p.m. Eastern, but you can find it on my channel and hit notify. I probably won't leave it on my channel for free for long, because it is a glimpse into my next program which is Chrysanthemum Hall, which is a 3-month program that includes the chrysanthemum codes to release wounds from your soul lineages and reroute you and your soul essence, goddess initiations to activate and catalyze your own sovereignty and gifts, and Web of Word. So Web of Word, if you're not familiar, is it's a Norse rune concept of all possibilities, fate, and destiny. So the Web of Word combines all of the runes in one rune to signify limitless possibilities of creation. We are working with the Web of Word not in the way that Norse shamans practice, not just that way. Some of them are definitely that way, but we're going to identify your unique type of creating within the web. The Web of Word is the true matrix. Your unique magic manifestation style is how you could think of that, because there are 5 or 6 different types, main ways that you can have express your creation magic, and it might be a mix of different ways. So that's why manifestation, the way it's taught, doesn't always work for everyone. But more than just identifying your creation magic, we're also going to be cultivating the frequency of ecosystemic support, which you're probably watching this video and being like, why should we take that with you? But creation magic, I do understand. If you want to learn, if you are a chanter and singer or a dream weaver, come to me. I have a pleasure reweaving summit in August 9th, 10th, and 11th, I believe, or August 8th, 9th, and 10th. So I have a guide, which you can just get the guide. It's Star Milk and Ruby Lips, Priestess Threads for your tits and bits. And the guide goes over pleasure reweaving for your whole body, not just your womb space, but there is a lot about just healing your womb and different practices with healing, with color, with sound, with movement. And then there's mantras and reflections throughout that. It gives you a whole new perspective on your body, including your fluids, including your toes and your ears. And it was a lot of fun to write. The summit, we're going through clearing and releasing, connecting you to star milk, which is a concept from Hathor priestess lineages of cosmic nutritive force, and reweaving your pleasure lattice. And then we are doing a healing with Gaia and the land for our own connection to the earth. That's what I got coming up. I'm committed to still keep those going, even if I move in with my parents. So if you're interested in those, sign up. What I would like to do if I do go nomadic is do in-person things wherever I go. So if you live in a community that you know there are other people who are like you, who are into spirituality, maybe mythics stuff, into healing, but you don't have the community yet, and you want someone to come and help you get it started, let me know. So that's it. My emotional, messy video for your Monday morning, July 21st.